Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thanks very much for watching that earwax removal compilation video today. So this is a couple of patients we had in clinic today. This first patient you can see has come through. Bless him, he came through because he was struggling a little bit. He'd started to notice he was getting a little bit of tinnitus coming through here, which had started to affect sort of him day to day. Now when I took a look in the ears, what I could see is we've got this very soft and squishy wax in here, which has really blocked this ear canal up. Now, when we do have some wax in the ears, it can sometimes cause some hearing issues, especially if we get very blocked because it's dampening the sound going through. Now, some people can then start to develop tinnitus-like symptoms. So tinnitus is basically, if you imagine it as any sound we perceive we hear, we're in the absence of sound. So basically any sound that's not got a sort of an external source, if you like, and that's just our ear doing its natural thing. And it's quite normal to get tinnitus. Quite a few people get it. Most of the time it'll just disappear after a couple of minutes. But in this case, because the ear canal was so blocked up and the hearing was becoming quite dampened, the patient had really started to notice it. And you can see just how thick and sticky this wax is, which is why I'm opting to use the Jobson horn here rather than suction straight away. Because when you get this very, very thick, sticky type material here, when you use the suction tube on it, it just kind of takes chunks out of it, but it just blocks the suction tube really quickly. So you don't really get, it's not an effective tool, if you like, for this particular type of wax. Whereas the Jobson horn is really, really good at this kind of stuff. So you can see I've taken the vast majority of this away now. Now what we can do is go in with the suction tube now at this point. And the reason I'm changing it at this point is because we've only got a very, very thin layer left and we've got to take that off the canal wall. Now, we've told you how sensitive these ear canals are. So this is the reason I'm using the suction tube to lift off the ear canal here, rather than use the Jobson horn and drag it almost, you'd have to drag it almost along the canal wall with a bit of force behind it, which would be very, very uncomfortable for the patient. So although we can switch tools at that and we can make it a little bit more comfortable for the patient by using suction then to remove that, and it's coming away really, really well. So suction is an effective tool when you've got these much thinner layers. You can see how it still doesn't really want to come out very well. It's still holding on a little bit in there, and that's just that sticky nature of this wax hanging onto the ear canal. Whoop, crashed into a bit there, so we'll just take that bit away as well. That's the bit that we could see hanging on at the back end of that plug, so we'll just get rid of that now. And interestingly, when we cleared this patient's ear canal, almost straight away they couldn't hear the tinnitus anymore. Now, that's worked well for this particular patient. It's not always the case. Sometimes it's not just the wax, there are other issues there, but because this patient had noticed this issue when he'd started to get the hearing issues, which coincided with this blocking up as well, we thought it might well help as it comes away. But you can see same thing now on this side, very, very sticky and soft wax here. So we're going back in with the Jobson horn again. Not the largest of ear canals. You can see the Jobson horn. I mean, this is the round Jobson horn rather than the oval one that we normally use here. I'll explain why I'm using that one now in a second, but you can see it's only just to be able to accommodate it. I'm having to use the endoscope by dropping it back quite a way so it doesn't interfere with that Jobson horn going in there. The reason we're using the round Jobson horn rather than the oval Jobson horn, what I find for this particular type of sticky wax, the oval Jobson horn, it tends to sort of cut through it a little bit. Whereas the wider one, it's got that sort of wider gap in the middle, bigger surface area. It tends to hold on to this sticky wax and draw it out a little bit more effectively. But you can see it's very, very tacky. It's really adhering to those canal walls very, very well. So now we've got this very thin layer here at the front. We'll put a little bit of olive oil in it, which is what you can see I've done here. And then we're just going to lift this section from the front here. If we're lucky, it'll peel all the way down to that slightly thicker section further back. You can see how it's really coming away then, and the olive oil forms that little barrier just underneath, so it stops it from re-sticking back down again as well. There we are. It's like a little sausage this way. It doesn't really want to come out very well. It's a long, thin strip here. There we go, out that comes. You can see how it went quite far in that one, so quite a long, thin strip. But if we take a look behind that, it's taken everything out with it. So there's the eardrum there, looking lovely and healthy. Patient much, much happier with that sound, could hear so much better. Tinnitus wasn't as intrusive as well. So we've got, I'd say probably if we squish that, about 5.5 centimeters, so about, just under 2.5 inches there, guys. So quite a bit came away from both ears there, and it's all this kind of chestnutty brown color, which tends to be this much stickier type of wax. If you ever look at it, it tends to be lighter on the edges and a little bit darker in the middle. Oh, this lovely patient came through feeling quite blocked up on this one ear. And what you've got here is lots and lots of little plates of wax, one over the top of the other here. So lots of little dry pieces coming through. So we're just gonna grab this first section. There we go. Out that comes. There we go. You can see it looks almost like these particular plants, I know you guys love a food analogy. They almost look like little cornflakes. This is the way I always think these things look. So as you take them away, you get these kind of layer upon layer, and they tend to be this sort of quite flat and sort of quite easy to remove. If you can turn them so you can get a good grip on them with the suction, they come away really, really well. But it's lots of layers, so you're kind of slowly unpicking all the different layers here. There we are. Taking that one away as well. I'd say that's more like a crunchy nut cluster myself, that one, rather than a cornflake, but it's coming away really, really well. There we go. Just time to give it a little bit of a wiggle. Out that pops. Now I've just got another bit behind. So lots and lots of little tiny pieces on this particular patient. And now we've got this much deeper section, but this is also various layers, one over the top of the other. So I've just got to spin this around a little bit. You can see that top layer already starting to detach. The nice thing about this particular type of wax is when you get this with a patient, they don't always experience hearing loss with this one because they're layers rather than a solid plug. The sound can sometimes still get through the gaps. But in this case, because it had gone very, very deep, it had actually plugged the ear canal just in front of the eardrum. But it's coming away so well. There we go, just getting this last little bit. You can see me just turning it there, because obviously the ear canal isn't like this, it's more like this. So I'm just turning it around just to be able to fit that through the gap. A little bit of dry skin underneath, and there's the eardrum looking lovely and healthy. Good light reflex there as well. So these are those little pieces that we took away. So 2.5 centimeters, just over 1 inch there, guys, on that one as well. But all very, very dry on that particular patient. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did voicing it over. Just to let you know, next week we are moving to a different clinic in our Cardiff branch. We're literally moving across the road, but we've been in the process of refurbing that clinic over what feels like a lifetime. But we are there now, and we're due to move in the end of this week, actually. So bear with us next week. I will try and get them out. I know you know what, we have been a little bit inconsistent with our videos over the last couple of weeks between COVID and everything else that's going on. I promise you guys, I am really trying my best to get them out as often as I can. But with other commitments we've got going on here at the moment, it's not always possible. So thank you so much for being with us. I will see you Friday for definite. So I'll see you then. So as always, guys, take care of put my teeth back in. Take care of your ears, take care of yourselves, and take care of one another. And I'll see you again on Friday. Bye, everyone.